Japan has a wonderful habit of being wholeheartedly unique. From the culture to the fashion and everything in between, there's nothing immune from the Japanese individuality. That's also the case for the cute, cuddly animals that reside on this island nation, along with the one-of-a-kind hot spring-loving monkeys that live on the western side of Japan. The ancient streets of Nara are also home to yet another cultural icon: deer. Though that might cast images of gentle Bambis prancing through butterfly-filled forests, these ain't your average woodland creatures. In true well-mannered Japanese fashion, these deer will bow to you. It's one of those utterly one-of-a-kind experiences that you would never find anywhere else in the world, and amongst one of the best highlights that you just have to add to your Japanese itinerary. So in that case, let me show you everything you need to know about visiting these adorable little creatures. The history of these deer is intertwined with the city of Nara itself. In fact, these deer have lived here for over 1,000 years, but that's still not as old as your mum. Ha! Legend has it that when the city was first formed, the people of Nara sought protection for their new capital. The lightning god Takamikazuki, not Thor, answered the people's prayers by riding down to Nara on the back of an enormous white deer before enshrining himself in the nearby Kasuga Taisha shrine. Since then, these deer have been seen as sacred animals and helpers of God, and as such have been fiercely protected. You could even have been put to death for killing one, so you're not likely going to find venison on the menu around here. Though today they're not considered sacred animals, the 1,200 or so deer that roam the greater city are considered natural monuments and a symbol of Nara. The city of Nara is located in the Kansai region of central Japan, nearby Kyoto in the north and Osaka to the west. From Osaka, take the Kintetsu Nara line from Osaka Namba Station for 570 yen on a 40-minute journey. You can also take the Yamatoji line from JR Osaka Station for about 30 to 45 minutes, for which you'll be able to use your JR pass. From Kyoto, take the JR Nara line from Kyoto Station for about 45 to 60 minutes for a cost of 690 yen. That route is covered by the JR pass. Otherwise, you can take the Kintetsu Nara line, which takes about 35 minutes from Kintetsu Kyoto Station. Once you're in Nara, it won't be difficult to find them. They could be anywhere in the city because they're allowed to roam completely free. Despite that, they tend to naturally congregate around Nara Park. The deer can also be found roaming around Todaiji Temple and further afield in the Kasuga Forest and the mountain ranges of the eastern side of the city. So that's enough for the nitty-gritty. Let's get down to the details of these adorable little creatures. Rather than having to spot these typically nervous animals from a distance, these deer will comfortably roam amongst the public. They've become so familiar with people that they now see tourists as a source of food and will happily come up to investigate what you have to offer. So, can you feed them? Yes, you can. Dotted around the park are several stalls that sell deer crackers or shinkashinbei. These little snacks are specifically designed to fit in with the deer's diet. For 200 yen, you'll be given 10 crackers, but believe me, that won't last long. On top of that, a portion of the profits goes towards protecting these deer and the park itself. Frugal cheapskates amongst you, myself included, might be asking if there's something else that you can feed them, preferably something cheaper. While it's not recommended, theoretically you can. You just have to make sure what exactly are you feeding them. Surprisingly, Doritos and Sour Patch Kids aren't in a regular deer's diet. In fact, it could actually be lethal to them, as the deer's sensitive digestive systems just can't handle it. Consider them the non-gluten eaters of the animal kingdom. But of course, deer crackers aren't the only thing that they eat. They usually eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, including apples, pears, cherries, and like I gave them, carrots. Plus, after a full day of snacking on these crackers which the tourists have provided, they're not going to be interested in them later in the day.
What's wrong with a carrot, bro?
If you insist on feeding them yourselves, then just use your common sense and just give them a taste. Now there are some people out there that do have a nervous breakdown at the sight of a cute little yapping puppy, let alone an antler-armed deer. Well, before you rely on your supply of Xanax, feel comfortable in the knowledge that these animals have lived amongst people for centuries and are completely comfortable when we're around. They're as tame as wild animals can be. On top of that, all the deer have had their antlers removed. And don't worry, the process doesn't hurt them, as it's kind of like cutting your nails for a human. That's not only to ensure the public's safety, but also for the park itself. That being said, they're still wild animals and could get aggressive.
Fighting.
Particularly when they're being teased. Don't be that dick that's dangling food just out of reach, because they'll happily ram you down to the ground for your disrespectful ways. You'll also notice that you'll become incredibly popular once they find out that you're packing the goods, and they might get a little hangry if you take your sweet ass time.
Care? You grumpy shit. Ain't for you. Stop it. It's not for you. Go away. What? Stop following me. God damn it. What? Gotta run away.
They might give you a gentle little nudge with their head, or might even nibble at your clothes a bit.
Hey, fucking shit, what?
Yet overall, they're cute little cuddly angels. The question on everybody's mind is, do these deer actually bow to you? Yes, they really do. That's the whole reason they're famous in the first place.
Boy. Hello. Good boy. Hello.
So how do you get them to do it? Well, the deer have learned to bow as a way of getting food from humans, which has worked pretty damn well for them. There's actually a proper routine you should follow to get them to bow. First, hold the cracker above their head, which they then should bow to you. Next, hold the cracker behind your back, which they then should bow to you again. Then lastly, hold the cracker in front of them, which they then should bow one last time before you can reward them. Of course, that long drawn out routine isn't even necessary. Most of the older deer are well trained and will bow as soon as you do, while others just bow in order to get your attention and, more importantly, your food. I can't give justice to how spectacular and unforgettable this experience really is. Nothing beats getting up close and personal with some cute cuddly animals, even more so when it's an animal you'd never normally get so close to. Not only is it a cultural icon, but it's a natural monument. It's a beautiful example of the synergy between nature and the civilization that surrounds it. They're bowing deer! What more do you want? You could spend hours, days, even weeks interacting with these adorable creatures, and in the interim, you can explore the ancient capital of Nara. Do yourself a favor, add it to your itinerary, and give yourself an unbelievable experience. Out.